Hey kids, how you doing? Today we are making cookie pie, and I've got my helper McKenna here. Wave to the camera, McKenna. So today we are going to make a cookie pie. The recipe calls it a red, white, and blue sugar cookie pie, but the nice thing about this recipe is you can customize it to whatever you want. I don't have red, white, and blue M&Ms, so we're going to use all different colored M&Ms. If you don't have M&Ms, you can use chocolate chips. You can use sprinkles. You can use whatever you want. First thing, wash your hands. Make sure your hands are nice and clean. And then you want to put your oven to 350 degrees. So I've got my oven preheating to 350 on bake. So that's your first two steps. Next step, let's make sure we have all the ingredients. So what we need for this is sugar cookie mix and a half a cup of butter, which is one stick. You want to make sure it's nice and soft. You don't want it to be cold. You want it soft so it stirs really well. One egg, you want to hold that up?
One egg.
One egg. Flour. And for the flour to measure, we need a tablespoon measuring spoon. And then we have our M&Ms, which are already pre-measured with a 1 cup measure. So if you haven't pre-measured, make sure you grab your 1 cup measure to measure your M&Ms. I'm already done it, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then we have our sprinkles. Yay! And then we have our 1/4 measuring cup for our sprinkles. And then finally, we need to make sure we have a 9-inch pie pan and spray so they don't stick. If you do not have a circle pie pan, you could also use a 8x8 square pan as well and make square cookies. It wouldn't be a pie, but it'd still be awesome. So let's first start out by spraying our pan so it's ready to go. McKenna, do you want to do that?
Okay.
So shake it up. All right, McKenna's going to spray it really well. Keep spraying. Whoa. Good. All right, well, I'll finish that up for her. So you want to make sure you spray the edges really well, if you could see what I'm doing, where the cookie's going to go up to. Spray the bottom really well. Don't be afraid to use it. Yeah, it's kind of smoky. Don't be afraid to use too much. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside so it's out of the way until we're ready to use it. We get that all ready to go. And then I'm done with my spray, so I'm going to set that aside. Grab your big bowl, and we're going to start out by mixing together our ingredients. So we're going to take our sugar cookie mix. Henry, you want to stir?
Uh-huh.
All right, I got my stirring helper. Sugar cookie mix. Yeah. And there's this big spoon, so I'm done with this. I'm going to get it out of my workspace. And then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour. So we're going to go ahead and make sure all of our, that's my oven saying it's ready to go. We're going to make sure all of our dry ingredients are mixed well together. So that was 1 tablespoon, and you want to make sure it's nice and even on the top. 2 tablespoons of flour. So I'm done with this. I'm going to move it out of my workspace so I have lots of room. All right. Now we're going to add in our half of a cup of butter. So that is 1 stick of butter. Can you see this? And again, you want to make sure it's nice and soft, room temperature. Let's go ahead and put our 1 stick of butter in. Let me grab this real quick. We're going to scrape it off the plate. It's stuck a tiny bit. All right. We're going to add that in. McKenna's going to stir it up really well. And then I'm going to add in my 1 egg. Oh, is it a little stiff? I'm going to help her out here a little bit. So you're going to stir it really well. Keep stirring. And then we're going to add in our egg. Hit on the table. Just make sure you don't get any eggshells in there. And then toss that aside. The butter's still probably a little too hard. I probably should have it a little softer.
But it's still butter.
Yeah, it's still buttery. All right, so I'm going to stir it. So you're going to have to use your muscles here. Keep stirring until everything is well incorporated. Again, make sure your butter, my butter is probably a little too cold. One other option, especially if you have butter, if it's still a little too cold, is you can use your fingers to stir. So I'm going to have to probably do that if I can't get it to melt and get warm enough. So you keep stirring. Keep stirring. It's kind of a process. All right. So I'm going to use my muscles here. So the butter's a little cold, so I'm going to use my fingers
Mm.
and stir it really well with my clean hands to get it really well incorporated. And the warmth from your hands will help melt the butter a little bit if it's a little too cold. So keep stirring using your fingers. This is why it's really important that you make sure.
Or the spoon.
You could
if
use
your
a
butter
spoon.
is really melted.
Yeah, if your butter is nice and soft, as it's supposed to be, you can definitely use your spoon. All right, so now the warmth from my hands help the butter melt a little bit. Just a little tip, get as much of the batter off of your hands as you can. I'm just going to go over here and wipe my hands off. And while I'm doing that, McKenna is going to pour in the M&Ms. So let me go ahead and do that, McKenna, while I rinse my hands off.
Mm.
Pour in the M&Ms. Yum.
The waterfall of M&M.
That sounds great. And yeah, go ahead and put it back there. Yep, so it's out of our station. Now we're going to stir the M&Ms in. And then our last and final ingredient is the sprinkles. So it's 1/4 of a cup of sprinkles. So I'm going to grab my 1/4 cup measure. I'm going to scoop it into my sprinkles. Make sure it's nice and even on the top. In it goes. And then I'm going to remove this out of my workstation.
Yeah.
Pretty fun, huh? All right, we're going to
Like
stir.
rainbow explosion.
It is a rainbow explosion, and we're going to stir it all in really well. All right, so now the next step, and we have to use our fingers for this one as well, is we are going to push it into the cookie dough pan, or the cookie pie pan. So I'm going to grab my pan that we greased earlier, and we're going to dump this whole mess of batter into our pan. Dump it all in.
It's kind of hard.
Well, there's a next step. All right, so it's all dumped in. Now what we're going to do, McKenna, you can help me with this. We're going to smush it into our cookie pan, or our pie pan,
Cookie.
to make a giant cookie. So we're going to
Oh,
smush
a
it in.
giant
Use your
one.
fingers. Smush, smush, smush. I'll show you in a minute. Going to make it as even as you
Greasy.
can. It is greasy, but we want it to be greasy so it doesn't stick. All right. So here you go. Now I'm going to put this in the oven, 350 degrees, for 20 to 25 minutes. And then it will be ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and pause and do that and get back to you. Hey kids, we're back. And our pie is all done. Through the magic of television.
Yum.
And it's been cooled. That's probably the hardest part, is waiting for it to cool. So here is our beautiful cookie pie. Yummy, yummy, yummy. It's all nice and cool. You want to make sure it cools for 30 minutes. And on the recipe I attached is an option to make frosting. So if you want to make some frosting, you can. There's a recipe on there. Or I think this would be really good served up with ice cream, which would be awesome. So once it's cooled, you're going to go ahead and take your knife. Make sure your parents help you. It's going to be soft enough that you could just use a butter knife. You're going to go ahead and cut your cookie pie into slices. You can do squares. You can do anything you want. You're going to go ahead and cut it into a serving. And then gently pull it out. It's going to look like just like a piece of pie. So it's still a teeny bit soft, but we'll do our best to get a nice pie shape out. You're going to pull your little pie shape out. And then there you go. You've got your little piece of cookie pie. Yummy, yummy. So I'm excited for you guys to make this and excited to hear about the different mix-ins that you add. Also want to know how you serve it. So you could serve it with ice cream, with whipped cream. You could serve it with spray cream. Oh yeah, spray cream.
Yummy.
That's yummy. Or you can do it with serve it with the frosting recipe that comes with this recipe.
Frosting's also good.
So frosting is good. All right, well enjoy. We'll talk to you soon. Bye everyone.